Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Deep in the Plus. Thank you guys so much for being with us on this special night. If you have not already, please subscribe to WDWNT TV and please give this video a thumbs up as it helps people to find us. I just want to say, ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment that you've waited for. We've got a cast of characters put together tonight for our 150th review on Deep in the Plus. Thank you guys. And these are some of the magic makers here that have made that happen. Starting with my good friend Allison. How are you, Allison?
I'm doing well tonight. How are you? I'm ready for the greatest show.
This is the greatest show. And also the movie, The Greatest Showman. I'm sorry, also Desi, what's up?
This is me.
Is that the right one? I'm kind of thinking Camp Rock when you say that. And then also Mr. Patrick Hackett.
Rob, it's never enough for me. Just
never?
Want to rewrite the
Never?
stars.
So, Casey Undercover, Troy Bolton, and Wolverine walk into a musical. This movie, The Greatest Showman, was not originally a Disney movie, as many things that we review on Deep in the Plus. It was a Fox production that was purchased in that big acquisition that they did way back in the day. And so now The Greatest Showman is part of the Disney company, at least until they decide to sell it off for a quick buck. Hopefully that won't happen. But again, I mentioned from the top, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in our post show for our Wigs members. We love our Wigs. We're going to do a post show tonight for our 150th. But I just wanted to say thank you guys for everybody. This show started on the day that Disneyplus launched, which was November 12th, 2019, before we all knew there was a reason to have Disneyplus and be locked in our houses for God knows how long. And then everybody on here has contributed to that, so I appreciate it. We started out, it was me and Jill, and we were doing Deep in the Plus, and we were recording episodes, and now we do it live. So thank you guys to everyone who's watched all along. I really appreciate it. I wanted to throw out some numbers here real quick, and then we'll get to the movie review, I promise. So Allison has been on 8 times. This is her 9th time on the show. Did you know that, Allison?
I did not. I would have guessed like 4 or 5. I cannot believe it's 9 times.
Because it's such a joy to be on. You're like, wow, okay, I've only been on that many times. So this is her 9th time, so thank you for being on. Desi's been on 29 times somehow. I still love to tell the story of the time where I accidentally sent her a link to join in, and she joined in, and she was like, why am I here? I was like, oh, I didn't mean to send it to you. She was ready to go, though. She was ready to go.
I thought that I had forgotten.
She was like, whatever it is, I can review it. I'm here.
But I remember that I kept harassing you that I wanted to do Loki, even though you basically never met me before and had no idea who I was.
And we did it, and it was glorious.
It was.
And then Patrick, this is your 39th episode. Did you know that? Patrick Hackett.
I mean, I had to guess I was on quite a bit. I do love myself.
And another little fun fact, in that time, we've reviewed 22 Disney full-length animated features out of the 61 now. 10 DCOMs, and that has never gone well. So I don't really know.
How dare you? Why would you do that with this bottom panel here to say that?
I know. What, Brink? Brink, anybody?
Brink raised a lot of money for the tots, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
Re-debut Brink.
We did 10 Marvels, which includes the Marvel ranking that we did, 9 Pixar, 9 Star Wars, 5 Muppets, and 5 live-action retellings. So, and again, out of 150 reviews. So, here's to a lot more. Hopefully, you guys will share the word about Deep in the Plus, and hopefully, you guys will have a good time tonight. So, let's talk about The Greatest Showman, because I'm going to start with you, Patrick, because I don't know if you want to reveal everything yet. But when we first talked about doing this as our 150th episode or review, you said, I have thoughts. Do you want to share your thoughts right now or sprinkle some in?
No. Just know that I am from Connecticut, where P.T. Barnum is from. And yeah, we'll talk about it more later.
You know, I honestly did not realize that P.T. Barnum had a connection to Connecticut until I looked him up on Wikipedia, and if it's on Wikipedia, it's got to be true, right? Apparently, at one point, he was the mayor
Yep.
of Bridgeport, Connecticut. So that
And his
Hugh Grant, I mean Hugh Jackman did not touch on that in the movie.
well, they do touch on him building the house after the tour with Jenny Lind, and that is now the University of Bridgeport's cafeteria. So that's what I have to offer today.
That's good. I appreciate you offering that up. That's fantastic. And Desi, you had not watched this at all before tonight, right? And now you are top hat on and ready to go.
I already had the top hat from our DuckTales review,
Woo!
so I figured I would just bust it out again. Yeah, I had not seen it before. I didn't really know that much about P.T. Barnum ahead of time. I knew that basically everyone I knew loved this movie. I did enjoy going to the circus back in the day. I live fairly close to the Ringling Brothers Museum, so kind of circus adjacent because we did a lot of tours there with field trips and stuff with school. I have thoughts after seeing this as well as Patrick.
Man, these teases are insane. And Allison, you had not seen this before I coaxed you into coming on for this one, right?
No, I had not seen it, and I was very hesitant to watch it. And I don't really know why, because I knew very little about it. But if people remember when this came out in 2017, it was just at the beginning of the Movie Pass craze. And my husband and I had Movie Pass, we didn't have a kid yet. We went to see outrageous numbers of movies and like some real clunkers. But we both like did not want to see this movie, had no desire to see this movie, total aversion to it. So this is not one we saw until Rob asked me to be on tonight. And I too have thoughts for later.
Well, here's the main reason that anyone should watch this movie is this fella right here, Hugh Jackman. I got to tell you though,
Zac Efron's not, nothing.
not too shabby.
Don't you shade my Troy.
Yes, coming from Patrick, the correspondent for all things High School Musical. So I honestly, like. He is Wolverine, right? I mean, that's the thing. You know, Patrick, you and I did a Wolverine X-Men Origins review. You were like, let's review this piece of garbage. And we did. and literally it has about as much traffic as Brink. So there you go.
Hey.
But I would tell you, though, that, whenever I look at him, he looks to me like Logan. And I try to shake it. And it's just like, because we've seen him so much as Wolverine. But he's so talented. I mean, honestly, I think it's amazing. The one thing that really threw me was there's a time where he's running through the city, and it was like just like Logan, right? It looked like Logan running. Yeah, so that was kind of fun. But so this movie has an amazing soundtrack. Can we agree on that? Whether the soundtrack is
Period appropriate.
Period appropriate. Like Hamilton?
I don't think the best song got nominated either. I don't think that's the best song in the film.
Well, so here's the thing that hit me is that Pasek and Paul, who are the gentlemen who wrote the music, as I'm listening to it, I'm like, this really feels like Dear Evan Hansen, and I didn't realize that they also wrote the music to Dear Evan Hansen. I'm like, well, there you go. That's why that works for me. But Patrick, you have thoughts on the music?
No, I actually, This Is Me is a great song, and I know people got a lot of meaning from it in their own personal life, which is awesome. But, oh my God, the thought just went out of my head. A Million Dreams. A Million Dreams is a much better song, I think, and it packs a lot more emotional punch. No matter what happened, this song was losing to Remember Me in the Oscars, so it didn't really stand a chance.
Okay, that's fair enough. But again, like this, the movie starts out. I mean, it is a musical. It is a straight up music. You would think that this was actually adapted from a musical to the screen. And the funny thing to me is that like I went into it the first time remembering that there was a musical called Barnum. Came out in 1980.
Oh, really?
And it's more of like the shyster side of him. You know, there's a song in it called "There's a Sucker Born Every Minute." Yeah, probably. I mean, this is definitely a romantic version of P.T. Barnum. He's got dreams, he's got hopes, he's got a family, and
I mean,
Patrick is
we
doing
should
this.
probably just get into it
Patrick
then.
is doing this.
Because
Patrick is doing this.
He's
there is
accepting all kinds of people.
there is no reason to make this movie about P.T. Barnum. That's the problem with this film, because he is at bare minimum, he is an incredibly complicated human being. At the maximum, he pretty much objectified people with disabilities and people of different races, including buying a person after slavery was outlawed in the place he bought them from. I would love this film so much more if I didn't have to think about all the awfulness that goes around with it. And then you bring in his partner, you don't even name him Bailey. Like, come on, what are we doing here? I just the awfulness of P.T. Barnum and his history. He's very, very complicated. His thoughts and things change as he grew, but like, eek, why him? Why not just a random ringmaster?
Oh,
I
Allison's
have some
jumping.
shorthand. Yeah, I've got some shorthand for this. So imagine if Newsies was, and the song, like, the song "Seize the Day" was not about kids who were like unionizing together and fighting exploitation, and instead, "Seize the Day" was about the millionaires that ran the newspapers at the time and were exploiting young children and unfair labor practices. That's this movie. The music is wonderful, it's catchy, but it's like deeply offensive to watch it told from this perspective. So I think Patrick has it exactly right. It's just told, the wrong person is made the hero, and it should not have been about P.T. Barnum.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that, like, again, it was a very romanticized version of him versus the shyster side that was in the actual Barnum. And I think that Desi, you've got to throw something in here. Do you feel like that they're being bullies over there, or do you think that
Pile
this
on.
is accurate?
I did not know anything about P.T. Barnum. I watched the movie. It it wasn't like as great as it had been portrayed to me. I was like, I don't know, something just feels weird, something feels off. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. And so I decided I'm going to do some research. And then I looked up P.T. Barnum and I was like, oh, oh, this does not sound at all like the movie. I was shocked. I wouldn't say that I loved the movie in the first place, but learning a little bit more about P.T. Barnum kind of ruined even what I did like.
How dare you people are stomping hopes and dreams out here. Like, everybody tuned into this show to hear you gush over this thing, and
I know,
y'all
and
just are like
I
going,
expected to love it. I expected to love it because
I'll
everybody
gush.
I know loves this movie. Everybody I know loves this movie. They tell me how great it is, what great acting, what beautiful scenery, how great the music is. I don't know. I went into this maybe expecting like 76 trombones or something that was more period appropriate, and then it's all these pop songs and like dances that I would expect to see out of the Backstreet Boys, which, you know, I love the Backstreet Boys, but they're not from the 1800s.
but again, Hamilton. I mean, come on, you can't hold that against it. I mean, Hamilton is exactly the same thing. No?
don't mind
Okay,
that.
well, but
Maybe it's because I knew what I was getting into.
wait, whoa, he's going. Let me actually throw this in first from our good friend William. The true greatest show is Deep in the Plus. Congrats on 150. Here's to 150 more. Thank you so much, William. We appreciate you. That's what's up. I mean, the period thing, like, again, that could be taken out of context. I mean, you know, what was that weird Heath Ledger movie, like The Knight's Tale or something like that?
Oh,
Don't
I
you
love
say a
that
bad
movie
word
too,
about
actually.
that film.
Where the music was like all 80s, like all 80s music.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and then
What
also
were you want to
have,
say there?
You have Moulin Rouge, this reminded me a lot of Moulin Rouge. Here's the thing, is I really, really like this movie. I got the problematic stuff out of the way, and I'm putting it in a compartment. I said my piece, and I'm ready to gush. Let's gush.
All right, that's fair. And Allison, you seemed like you wanted to say something else.
Oh yeah. So I mean, I fully agree.
Oh
This is
yeah.
like Baz Luhrmann style visuals. So I looked it up. I'm like, this looks like it was directed by Baz Luhrmann. I like spectacle. I love Broadway. I don't mind at all that the music is not from the same time. I actually really like that. Just like in Moulin Rouge, it's really enjoyable. It also, all of the songs just like kind of sweep you into it. And so like the first 10 minutes when I was really like did not know what to expect at all, I was like just pulled in because it was visually stunning and the music was so moving and catchy. And I just thought like, oh, I'm watching Strictly Ballroom, or I'm watching Moulin Rouge. And interestingly, this director is also Australian, just like Baz Luhrmann. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Well, okay, so I want to talk about a lot of stuff here, but again, first of all, I was not hating on A Knight's Tale or Hamilton. I was just bringing up some references to where music did not necessarily fit the time period, etc., etc. So, anyway, but
Is A Knight's Tale on Disney Plus? Because I could get on board for that.
Same.
yeah, okay,
I've never seen
bring
it.
that we'll bring that up at the
It's
next
so
meeting.
good.
Run it back.
So there was that scene. You talked about visuals, and I really want to talk about visuals in this movie because I feel like it was a huge part. I don't know whether you call this the choreography, the cinematography, or the editing, or what is going on here. But I think there's a lot of cool scenes in this one. There's especially the scenes on the rooftop with PT and Charity, where she's trying to kill herself apparently because she keeps trying to jump off the roof and he keeps trying to save her.
That's what
You
you
know
got
what I'm
from
talking.
that?
You know what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
all right. I thought you
Okay.
were being serious for a moment.
No, no,
I was
no,
like,
no, no.
That's not what I
But
picked
but
up.
this
Okay.
scene in particular, where he turns, and then all of a sudden that they're in the house seamlessly, and then there's like she's pregnant. I was just like roll it back and look for the inconsistencies. But I thought that that was beautiful. What?
Is that how babies are made?
Yes, yes. It's by
Yeah.
dancing.
The man who
All right,
made a
great.
baby. It's a question about it. I saw that coming, that visual. I knew it instantly because I could only see their faces. I'm
Yeah.
like, there's gonna be a belly.
Trademark or
Well,
telegraph.
and
That's what I'm looking
Allison, I know that you are a huge fan of dance. Like these dance numbers, were you just blown away by them or impressed by them or not
They're
really?
beautiful. They're like an American in Paris style, like partner dancing. Like stunning lifts. The choreography overall was beautiful. The partner dancing in particular. Some of the others, they hit really well, but I found like there was a lot of the same move over and over. And maybe in the wig show, I'll like demonstrate what I kept seeing. But I was into it. I was like dancing as I was watching it because it is the music was catchy and so was the choreography.
Yeah, I again, whether that's cinematography or not, I thought it was a beautifully laid out movie, and they did a lot of those visual tricks. There's the one where she's singing in the ring later, like near the end, and everybody jumps up in slow motion, but she's moving in real time. Or the scene where he's moving in slow motion but singing in real time. Those little things, I just kept going, wow, that's so much effort was taken in those scenes. So again, Desi, this is your first time seeing it. Like, did that stand out to you, or were you still just trying to
Yeah.
figure out PT?
No, I did enjoy those moments. I did like the music. It was just that it kind of took me out of it for a little bit to be like, I'm supposed to be in the 1800s, and then no, now they're doing a pop song. I did like those visuals. It kind of reminded me of the 98 Degrees I Do Cherish You video, where I saw the behind the scenes MTV making of the music video, where it's like they took the camera from multiple angles and then that's how they got the freeze frame. So I thought that was cool. Yeah, I liked it. I don't have really anything bad to say about the music other than it took me out of it for a little bit because I got jolted back into that's a pop song.
Okay.
And
I want
think
to give a shout
there
out.
again,
Go ahead.
you're at that spot where it's like, why is this about P.T. Barnum? Why is this a period piece? This could have been so much better and so different. I think about this a lot with some of the Disney live action remakes. Like, I really, really enjoyed Cruella. Easy for me to say, but I would have enjoyed it more if they hit me with the fact that it was Cruella de Vil at the end instead of knowing going in. Same thing with Lightyear. If that's a sci-fi movie and it's just building a world and you're in it, and then Buzz Lightyear eventually comes on, you're like, oh my God, this ties so many things together. But to have it tied in beforehand, there's no reason. That's why I didn't go see it in theater. I waited till I could get it for free streaming. And like I said, I'm a big fan. I really like this a lot. I love the cinematography. I think the shots are incredibly well constructed, and the way they saturate the colors, it just makes the film pop.
Yeah. So I want to give a shout out to Kate who did the homework as we talked about, watched the movie. She hit me up on Twitter and was like, I have tried so many times to get through this and the pacing is just not, she's like, I fell asleep so many times because of the pacing. Honestly, I'm when I went back to watch it, I was like, this is an hour and 47 minutes, and to me that kind of flew by. But does anybody else Allison, this is your first time watching it. What did it feel slow to you?
No, and actually it went by really quickly. And I think like the music, there's so much music, and because it is a musical, and and all the music drives things forward. It's like I said, they all sound like pump up songs, almost all of them. Like there are like two ballads in it, but even the ballads like are really emotional, and they like drive forward. So I felt like it flew by, and an hour and 45 minutes is like kind of short for a film these days. And so I was relieved when I saw the runtime. So often I go to watch something and it's like 2.5 hours, or 2:15, and that to me is just like too much at this phase in my life. And I think Patrick knows what I'm talking about, to watch a movie that long. But
Well, I mean, and again, that's an hour and 47 to 2 hours seems about right. When you see that, oh, Avatar: Way of Water is 3 hours and 12 minutes or whatever, you're like,
Yeah,
no,
haven't
thank
seen
you.
that one yet.
exactly. That's a little bit long. And you know what? Marvel movies have, in general, have been like that. That, you know, Marvel movies are usually like 2.5 hours on each one. So when you see a movie and you go, oh, it's only an hour and 47, I can do that. That's, you know, that's no
Breezy.
big deal. Yeah. Easy breezy. So, you know, in general, I feel like the music, anytime things felt slow, kind of lifted me up. I think I agree. There are some things that are, there are musicals that will take me out of it. You know, the things that, these are all showstoppers. They're not really, most of them. Some of them were montages that were furthering the story, but most of them are like, stop and enjoy this moment song.
I think it was, you know, it was just a song, an ineffective way to move the story along.
Wow. Okay. Great.
That's right. Teen
Good,
Beach
good, good
references.
catch. Good catch.
Yeah.
Good catch. So early on, you know, the idea that we are rooting, like, again, Patrick, let's put aside the fact that you
Yeah,
already know that
absolutely.
P.T. Barnum was. As a character, though, in this movie, like I said, they romanticize him. You're actually kind of pulling for him, right? Because he comes from nothing. He's treated like nothing. He's looked down upon. He's, whoa, whoa,
In the
whoa,
movie.
okay. Wait.
Nope.
Allison's nodding her head furiously. Go.
No. I mean, I was in the first like 10-15 minutes, and then as soon as he's like, oh, let me visit like this little person, and then let me visit this bearded lady, I'm like, oh no, he's just gonna start exploiting all these people. Wait, what is this movie about? And that's what I Googled, because I just was like already just like very uncomfortable with the idea that this man is just going to make his fortune off of the backs of people who are going to be undercompensated, and like, and he's gonna like perpetrate like, you'll belong here with us, and then he like is in a party and he's like shutting the door.
That
like,
was the worst part. I was so mad.
Well, and that's the way they do it, right? Is that they kind of romanticize it, that he's putting this group of misfits together to give them a family, is how it's glossed over. And then when he gets what he wants, he drops them like a lead balloon, and then he has that kind of redemption arc in the movie. I don't think that was probably an accurate portrayal of
But
P.T. Barnum in general, though.
none of the quote unquote freaks from his circus seemed upset with him about that. You would think that, you know, they go and do this show where everybody's booing them. He's not there because he's off partying with the upper class, and then the building burns down. And instead of him being like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, you guys are my family, let's try to rebuild this together. No, he goes and drowns his sorrows at a bar and they are the ones who come to cheer him up. I didn't understand that part at all.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that they romanticize it, that he is like, he's the guy that put their family together and he can do it again, and we want to keep our home, and it's I can't imagine that was the actual way that it went down.
But it didn't even matter to me because, like, I don't need to know anything about P.T. Barnum to know that, like, the experience of people who were treated that way in, like, carnivals, in sideshows, in circuses at that time or any time in history is not going to be a pleasant one. So as soon as I saw that that's where the movie was going, I was just, like, deeply, deeply, deeply offended and disturbed and like uncomfortable with watching it. And that's when I was like, oh, this movie is very much telling the wrong story.
The fire was started by Confederate sympathizers because P.T. Barnum had a change of heart later in life and started to rail against slavery. And so, yeah, that fire was a real thing. His theater was set on fire by Confederate sympathizers in New York.
After he first made his fortune.
Well, and they certainly don't mention they certainly don't mention that in the movie. They
wanted to avoid the part where they had to say the awful thing he did first to then, come back from it. But
no.
Talking about the film, trying to get past it.
What did you say, Desi?
It might have been a better redemption story than the one that they told. You want to show someone who did something really, really awful and then repented for it and wanted to go against it later in life.
Well,
that
and again,
seems like a better story.
Everything about him is romanticized, including the fact that to get the thing started in the first place, he stole some like shipping ownership documents and then faked it to the bank that he actually had some collateral to the bank. So basically, it starts off with him just ripping the bank off for 10 grand.
I'm fine
and
with that.
We're like, all right, go.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah.
What were you going to say, Patrick?
It's entrepreneurship. I mean, he knows where those boats are. He didn't lie. He said they're in the South China Sea. They might be at the bottom, but those are boats that are there, and the bank can go get them whenever they want.
All right. That's fair. So, again, the cast with this one, seeing Zac Efron, knowing that they didn't think he was good enough to sing in the first High School Musical, and now he's basically known as the musical guy. He was in Hairspray. He sang in High School Musical 2 and 3. No, you didn't know that?
Yeah. No, I didn't.
Well, you should watch our review that we did. Patrick and I went to a lot of trouble.
I've never seen High School Musical.
Show's over. You have to go watch it now.
I know.
Wow.
But I do really like Zac Efron. Anyways.
Let me fix this. Okay.
Zac Efron was at my wedding. Does that make it better?
Was he?
What just happened? What kind of ride did we just take?
I don't know it.
I'll save it for the post show.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Interesting. Yeah. So Zac Efron, Zendaya in here, I think does an amazing job. And I think that she's come a long way from Shake It Up, Casey Undercover, all those campy Disney Channel things, obviously with Euphoria and the things that she's done recently as MJ. And but I feel like when I see her with Troy Bolton, she's cheating on Spider-Man. Anybody else feel that way?
Yes.
Yeah,
100%.
exactly. It's like, no. You don't do that. Not to Peter Parker, you don't.
And she was upside down one of the times. I'm like, this is just too far.
It was like this close to the upside down kiss. Yeah,
it was
exactly.
Close.
Yeah. Let me drop something in here where I feel like, again, we know that he's building his career and he's building this empire, and then he buys the house and says it's for his wife and kids, and this is the life I promised you, and he buys the house, and then I feel like that's the point where his arc starts to go down, is that, now we're supposed to hate him. Now we're supposed to hate the fact that he's more about the money, he's more about, the fame and the fortune than he is about taking care of his family or his other family, his work family that he's put together. But I feel like where everything changes is when Jenny Lynn sings never enough. I feel like in that moment we see every character change at once, which I think is brilliantly done. We see that Charity is going, well, wait a minute, he seems to have a thing for this girl, and he's seeing her almost like in a completely different light, and she's seeing him, and the you know, the folks in the back are they're like, why are we in the back? And then, you know, now we see also that you know, Zac Efron's character is like dropped Zendaya's hand, and so then that, like, I feel like that one scene changes everything.
I think she drops his hand. I don't think it was the other way around. I think she pulled away from him. That's how I read that scene, is because he immediately goes on the offensive with his parents after that. So I took that as her pulling away to try and protect his rich upper class kind of build, and not associating with a person of color, and a person of color who is, you know, in a circus.
So it's really kind of a Han shot first kind of a situation.
Ah, that's a good call.
No,
Yeah.
I think he dropped her hand because he saw the other white people looking at him. And then that's when she looked at him like, how could you? I definitely did not get the she dropped his hand thing.
That's what
That was the take I had.
I
Yeah.
saw as well.
I'll be on this island alone.
Any other thoughts on that particular scene, Allison?
I mean, I think he tried to cover it, and I think that's why he went to parents after, because he like thought about it. But I think it was a gut reaction, like, oh no, I can't be seen doing this. And then he like saw her face and was like, oh, I just messed this up. I have to repair it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's never enough. Never. So one of the things that we've done along the way with Deep in the Plus, and this kind of is one of the things that sort of started to... What, Patrick?
Go ahead.
I'm not prepared.
Started to sort of... I don't know. I feel like it was sort of born. I feel like we didn't actually plan it, but it was one of these things that kind of happened, was trivia from the movie. And so I have a few trivia questions that I'm going to throw out for you. Shouldn't be anything too difficult. Because again, I mean, it's a big movie. There's a lot of different things that could have been in it. So, are you ready? I'm gonna ask a couple trivia questions. And again, if you're watching it watching us at home, we appreciate it if you give us a like if you haven't already, and also you could play along with the trivia. We'll give you kind of a beat in between before Patrick yells out the answer like he always does. You ready? So, in the Spanish version, the Spanish dub of this movie. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. No, we're not gonna do that. Wouldn't that be funny though? Wouldn't that be funny?
That's good. That's real good.
I almost like tried to write that one down. There's a time where he puts on a top hat that has a phrase on it. Do you remember that top hat and what's the full phrase though?
Bah humbug?
Barnum humbug.
Mr. Humbug?
That's a little closer.
I'm Mr. Oh.
It said, I'm Mr. Heat Miser. That's exactly what it said. No, it was Prince of Humbug is what it said on it. See, I thought that would be pretty easy. Jenny Lind, the singer, has a moniker, a nickname. What do they call her?
The Nightingale of Sweden.
Good job.
Yeah, I'll take that. The Swedish Nightingale is what they said.
Ah.
Patrick, you should know this one. You ready?
This is going to be a number.
Should be pretty easy. What does PT stand for?
Oh, Phineas. Oh, what's the T?
He says it in the movie.
Tiberius.
Oh, Desi's got her hand up. What is it?
Taylor.
Yep. Phineas
I was
Taylor.
going to say that, but it didn't seem right.
One last one. The tavern takes is a big thing for them in that movie. This is where he sweet talks Zac Efron into being his partner. It's where the family gathers, and Tom Thumb says, I knew we'd find you here. What's the name of the tavern? It's like one of the biggest,
Rose and
like,
Crown.
repetitive. Okay, that's something else. Rose and Crown.
The public house.
Right, McCarthy's Tavern is what it is. It's exactly.
That's a
You
real
nailed it.
bar, isn't it? Like in New York? Isn't that like
It's a
one
real
of the
bar in this
oldest
movie that was called McCarthy's Tavern. That's what I know. That's it. That's it. I just figured, you know what? We've been doing that for a while. We might as well throw that out there. My favorite, though, was we've done 3 episodes now with people, that were that we brought in, that were part of the movies. We brought in the director and the producer of Stuntman that Patrick and I interviewed, and then also the Joaquin Garay III, who played Paco in Herbie Goes Bananas, and also Ike Eisenman from Escape to Witch Mountain. And we didn't make them answer the questions, but we made them watch Patrick struggle. So, Patrick, thank you for being a good friend through all of that, and I appreciate you every day, sir. So thank you.
I,
All right.
I'm surprised that I did better with a movie I've seen one time than some of the other ones that are like my favorites and I've watched over and over again.
Yeah, I usually try to stay away from them if we're doing like Star Wars and things like that, because I'm afraid that Neko or some of the other folks in chat will just tear us up.
will correct?
So yeah, exactly. So just trying to be very careful about all that kind of stuff. But thank you guys for doing that. Hopefully you guys at home find it fun. I know that the people on the panel usually do not. I think that's why Allison's being super quiet up there in the corner. It's fine. Although there was that
always
episode.
go 0 for 0.
I feel like, which one was it? Princess Diaries, where you turned it around on me and you asked me questions about it.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
It was great.
I didn't.
Got
I
none
didn't.
of
I didn't.
that.
I didn't have any
Made me feel so
answers.
much
I missed
better.
them all. I missed them all. It was fine. So again, this movie has ups and downs. You've got what, the first act, second act, and third act. So by the end of the second act, before the third act starts, you've got to fix things. And so in this one, he's lost everything. Like he's lost his family because he tried to, or because Jenny kissed him, and apparently it was on the front of the paper, but somebody took a picture, but then it was a drawing on the front of the paper. Did y'all notice that? I didn't quite figure that one out.
No, I did not pick up on that.
You didn't?
Like,
I noticed.
No.
Oh man, I was
noticed.
just like, yeah, it was like he opens up the paper, because at the after the fire,
They
the
had
reporter
like a
comes
wreath
and
drawn around them.
yeah, it was weird. The reporter comes to him and is like, "Oh, you haven't heard?" Because he's like, "Oh, we'll just rebuild this off of the money we're gonna make from Jenny's tour." And he's like, "Oh, you haven't heard?" And then he opens up the paper and it's a drawing of them. And I was like, they literally go to the trouble to show you like 3 or 4 cameras go off at that same time taking that picture, and it's a drawing in the newspaper. I didn't get that. But anyway,
She also
so
says goodbye to him on the stage. He's like, "What was that?" And she's like, "Goodbye." Like, it was very clear to me that she was quitting. So it was weird to me that it was a surprise to him that she was not going to complete her tour.
I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe he thought the news couldn't get back. I don't know.
maybe. Yeah, I'm trying to find it, but Barnum scandal.
Where is
Yeah.
it?
not
Okay.
real.
So here's the image that actually showed up on the newspaper. It's just
It's, I can't believe I didn't notice that. That's hysterical.
and I'm just like, why did we go through the whole like the people holding the flash bars and things like that? Why did we go
It
through that
even
whole?
looks uncomfortable in the drawing.
Yeah.
It's one step away from a Main Street USA silhouette.
Yeah. Well, here's the other part about that. If your wife catches you in a drawing kissing somebody, I mean, what? That's what? Like, oh, it must be real. They drew it in the New York Times. It must be real.
It's actually how the New Yorker started getting cartoons. It just was the front page drawings at first. And here's the thing, like going back to the well that I've been trying to stay out of, is more than likely it is reported that he did have an affair with Jenny Lind, and this wasn't like, oh no, she kissed me without my permission. He and Charity stayed married for a while, until Charity passed. And then Barnum, in classic fashion, married a 22-year-old woman, setting the stage for Leonardo DiCaprio's Everywhere.
Can I ask a weird question? And this is going to sound very strange. Tom Thumb
I don't know.
looked like they made him shorter
They did.
with CGI
Yep.
because it looked very
No.
awkward
Practical effects.
when he would walk.
He stood on his knees and they CGI'd out his legs.
Ah, okay. Well, so y'all did a little bit more homework on that than
They
I did.
also
But
feel like they did something to his face, right? His face looks de-aged a little bit or something. I don't know. It doesn't look natural.
yeah, and then he sat on his hat. Weren't those hats designed to?
Look, I like had a book on top of this hat and it's all dented and terrible. So
Yeah.
I don't know how he
So-
was able to sit on that.
Desi's ready
After-
for our next review of Cabaret.
After exactly
Come
after
to
after all of the weird things we've said, I know it's a weird sticking point to say, wouldn't he have smushed the hat? But I again, this is just these are the things that I pick up on along the way. So
There's a Cabaret connection here, by the way. Michelle
Oh.
Williams was in Cabaret on Broadway. I saw her in like
Oh.
2015,
Wow.
2014 or something. Yeah. So she can actually like sing and perform.
I
Yeah.
love cabaret.
you know what? Again, Michelle Williams was very. I guess I didn't mention her from the beginning because she wasn't one of the ones that was stolen from the Disney family. But I really feel like she did a really good job in this movie.
She wasn't given a ton to do, but what she did really well.
Yeah.
She has that
but it-
gravitas about her.
Who would have predicted that she would be like the real breakout star from Dawson's Creek?
Everyone? I don't know. Was who was your favorite? Katie Holmes?
In Dawson's Creek. Oh, Pacey, all the way.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to. Hopefully someday they'll buy that show and we can review that one too. It'll be great. I mean, and again, Rebecca Ferguson did an amazing job as Jenny Lind as well. She was in, I think one of the Mission Impossibles and a couple other things. I think she did a really good job in this one.
That wasn't her voice.
No,
wasn't?
I know. But she trained to sing, and then they didn't think she was good enough. It's really
Like Zac
sucks.
Efron in High School Musical.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I think she did a good job. I mean, again, she was, and the lions, whew, those were real, right? No?
They were as
Okay.
realistic as the rest of this movie.
That's the thing, right? Okay, so forget P.T. Barnum and the rest of this. Like,
Yeah.
circuses are not a thing anymore, right? I mean, that's one of those things that we have canceled because of the non-ethical treatment of animals.
Animal.
I mean, the circus in this one lightly, like, obviously he's going to ride the elephant through town to get to the ballet, but, who wouldn't if you could? But there's that and the lions and there's just a lot of mistreatment there, but they don't really go into that in this. But I think that, that's one of those things that was a big deal. The circus would come to town, the animals would be on. I mean, we've all seen Dumbo. We know how it works.
Yeah, I think there's still circuses. I just don't think there's animals. Like Cirque du Soleil tours, the Big Apple circus tours. So I think it's just the animals are
Soleil
gone.
is not the
Ringling
same.
Brothers, yeah, Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey no longer tours.
Do you think it's because they found out about the truth behind Barnum and they just canceled it because of that?
No, because his museum is full of a lot of the underhanded stuff he did. There's a museum in Bridgeport. Like this way towards the egress, which is Latin for exit. So he would make people leave and come back and pay an additional fee to get back in.
Because it was too crowded, because there were too many people in there, so he was trying to trick people to get out so that
Yep.
there wasn't
What
too
he
big of a
needed was a
crowd.
reservation system. That's something we'll talk about later.
How dare you?
Good times. No, I guess again that's the fleecing of the everyman and the and the mistreatment of people. We flossed over or glossed over all of that in order to have some killer music, I guess.
Yeah. And that's
So-
the thing is like, if we didn't have to spend so much time talking about this and keep coming back to it because none of us want to say a good thing about the lead in this, we're having a better time talking about a movie that's actually pretty good. The acting is good. The music's fantastic. Visually, it's stunning. It's brisk. It moves along quickly. Third act drags a little bit. but it's a much better movie without this. And it seems like this was like a pet project of Hugh Jackman, that he really wanted to get a Barnum biopic done. I don't know why. I know Hugh Jackman is always looking for reasons to sing, and he's a great singer. But
he supposedly read like 40 different biographies about P.T.
Yeah.
Barnum to prepare for this role. How well did he read any of those? Because this movie is not about P.T. Barnum. Movie is in no way, shape, or form a biography of what really happened.
Well, so the tagline for this movie says, celebrates the birth of show business and tells of a visionary who rose from nothing to create a spectacle that became a worldwide sensation.
Have
Yay.
you ever seen The Great, where the tagline is an occasionally true story?
Yes.
And then the second season of it is an almost entirely untrue tale or something like that. That's what this movie is. This movie takes some things. There was a guy named P.T. Barnum. He had a wife named Charity, and he created a circus.
Well, and like I said, the original
had that
musical,
part.
the original musical Barnum includes all those things. It includes Jenny Lind. It includes Charity. It includes all of that stuff. But it does, again, make it. It's about the sensational, but it's kind of, again, about him being a shyster the whole time. And this one tries to romanticize what he's doing in saying that he has a vision. So, that's the difference in that. But, Patrick, to your point, like, you take that away and you talk about the entertainment value of this movie and the music and putting all of that other stuff aside, and like the mistreatment of the people, like Allison was talking about, or his, shyster history, then you're like, okay, this is something. And because of that, there is talk or rumor as recently as August of last year about them making a stage adaptation of this movie, which seems like a no-brainer. The choreography is there, the music is there, the runtime should be about right for an actual stage show. Maybe throw a couple other songs in there. Not like this team couldn't do that. Yeah, I mean, this would be, and I mean, I'm picturing trapezes over the audience.
Yep.
Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark meets Phantom of the Opera and the Chandelier. No Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark. Okay, cool. Just me.
Yeah, I mean, just replace the characters and just name it something else. If you went into this blind, like I a couple people in the chat are saying they're feeling kind of beat down by this, and I get it. I thought I would be the only one, given my connection to the state, having been to the museum and knowing this well in advance of coming to see the film. But this is the movie's fault. There's a million ringmasters, there's a million circuses. You could just make it close to the story, and if somebody asks you to pay them, you're Hugh Jackman, you pay them. I mean, Ryan Reynolds has a soccer team, so you have to have some money around.
Yeah, honestly, again, I mean, I get what you're saying, William, about that, about looking at it from the historical side of it, but I mean, it really is, and I've tried to bring it back to this a second ago, is that as a movie, like, I mean, I was jumping up and down to the music. I wish I had video to show you; it'd be more entertaining. But, I really feel like the music, it reminded me of the Dear Evan Hansen music. And Dear Evan Hansen is a musical that I'm very attached to because of how the music made me feel. And I think I had this conversation, I don't think we ever had it on Deep in the Plus, but I had this conversation that a lot of times music marries you to a movie. That's my theory as to why movies like Strange World, Treasure Planet, Atlantis don't go down in history like Encanto or The Little Mermaid or Beauty and the Beast, because you take those songs away with you. You go buy the soundtrack, you listen to it in the car with your kids. I know, Allison, you sang Tangled songs to your daughter when she was growing up. Like, these are things that, like, you take that with you and you do more with it. What are you really going to take from Treasure Planet with you? You don't really do that. So I think that's why the one
Treasure Planet that I listen to over and over and over again.
Well, Treasure Planet does have a song from Johnny Resnick that's kind of awesome, if that's the one you're talking about. But I mean, let's just talk about Strange World again, because Encanto found second life in streaming because people heard it. Their little kids loved the songs, the music. There are other reasons. I mean, people saw themselves in the movie, and there's representation, and Lin-Manuel Miranda is a god when it comes to music. But the idea that a movie like Strange World can exist, but people don't gravitate towards it as much because you don't rewatch it for the songs and the music and everything. And I think people watch this over and over again for the music and the songs and the entertainment value of it. And so I think that when you take that out of it, that's, I don't know, that's a big takeaway from this movie. So I want to go ahead and wrap this up and get final thoughts from everybody. And so if you are ready, we'll start with Allison, and we'll go around and say, Allison, we've talked about this movie. We've talked about it being problematic, and we've talked about the cast and the music, and this is the first time you've seen it, but Allison, would you recommend this movie?
I guess I would. I think I thought I was going to be disinterested entirely with this movie, but I love the visuals. I love the music. The pacing was good. The acting was good. All of that. We've already discussed. It doesn't have to be a biopic, and it doesn't have to be about circuses. I think it could have been about like a magician, or it could have been about like people starting a showboat, to reference another very old musical, like that kind of thing. And so it's worth it just because it's really well put together. It's just like a curious topic that they chose, but I would recommend it because it's well done.
Okay, and Desi, you also saw this for the first time. Would you recommend it?
I think maybe my biggest problems with it are only because of the homework I did for this show. If you just want to go watch a pretty, fun movie with great music, and it's got Hugh Jackman and Zac Efron, who are two of my favorite actors, then yes. If you are going into this expecting anything historically accurate or to learn anything about the true P.T. Barnum, then no.
Okay, and Mr. Hackett.
Yeah, watch this movie. It's fantastic. It's a great spectacle. If you want to shut your brain off and pretend that the reality of it doesn't exist, that's what art is for, right? I don't think the Barnum estate is getting anything from this. So go and enjoy it. Enjoy Hugh Jackman. Enjoy Zac Efron. Enjoy Zendaya. I really like it. I wish I didn't know what I did know, and I wish that the movie, because this is 2019, like we're aware of things at that point in time, and I wish the filmmakers took more of that into consideration. And basically, they have dampened what would have been probably a pretty raucous reaction from this group, because we're all sad. And it's sad to think about the reality of it all. These two, Pasek and Paul, are incredibly talented. They are an Emmy short of the EGOT, and they write great songs. Michael Gracie, this is the only movie that he directed. He is actually a really well-known music video director, and that's kind of what this is like. It's like an hour and 45-minute music video. It's cool. It's fun.
You know what? I honestly wasn't expecting any of this coming from y'all coming in tonight, because again, we all kind of do our own homework on this, and so, like I said, I was pumped last night about this movie. Wasn't thinking about it from a historical standpoint, because I think in most cases, most of these movies are romanticized in some way, shape, or form. So I'm pretty sure that Tony Stark was probably not as nice a guy as we're led to believe in the movies.
Rob,
no, wait.
Okay.
We have proof
Post-show?
that Tony Stark had a heart.
Okay. But again, I mean, this music moves me. I love musical theater. I loved Dear Evan Hansen. I watched so much musical theater, and it really, like, when I heard this music again, it all just kind of come flashing back from the first time I watched the movie. So I would definitely recommend this movie. I think it's a fun movie in general. I get that there are some things about it that might be problematic, but I would say that, again, this is a really fun movie, and it's an easy watch too, because again, in an hour and 47 minutes, it kind of flies by. So you know what? Let us know in the comments what you think. The history of it, I feel like Barnum, the musical, is probably more accurate to PT's like past. There are a lot of movies though that I look at and go, why did you feel like you needed to call that movie Battleship? So, it was like, that's the one that gets me all the time with Rihanna and like the whole "You Sunk My Battleship" movie. Yeah, because it's like What did that have to do with anything? You know, I mean, it didn't really, like a movie like Transformers needs to be Transformers, but a movie like that last Fantastic Four, that was not the Fantastic Four. But if it was, you know, just a science fiction movie, I probably would have been, all right, that's all right. But it is not the Fantastic Four. So, you know, again, let us know what you think in the comments below. Like I said, we are going to have a post show for our wigs. We love our wigs, the WDWNT Interglobe Society. That is our Patreon program. You can find out more about it at WDW or at patreon.com/WDWNT. Again, hopefully you guys have given us a thumbs up. If you have not already, we appreciate it. And hopefully you will tune in to much more of Deep in the Plus. Thank you guys for, again, 150 reviews. And I say reviews instead of episodes because the things that we've done, like where Desi and I did Star Wars rankings last week, I didn't count those in there. These are just straight reviews. We did 150 reviews. We've done some shows on like the, you know, the D23 announcements and things like that, but out of reviews, this is just straight up 150. This is my baby, my passion project. I love this show, so I'm thankful for all of you guys for being a part of it. I'm thankful for everybody who's watched it, and hopefully you'll keep on watching. Don't forget that next month is March, which means St. Patrick's Day, which means St. Patrick and I will do a sort of St. Patrick's movie. We're going to be doing The Happiest Millionaire, because we've really pretty much gone through all the other stuff that, like, you know, Darby O'Gill and Little People, Luck of the Irish,
I wish
which
there was
is a
another
decom.
Darby O'Gill.
Yeah, I do too. But you know, the funny part is, like, that was the best, most watched decom we've ever done. You know what the worst watched decom was?
Darby O'Gill
You
was
need
not
to
a
stop.
decom.
No.
Right.
Luck of the Irish. Luck of the Irish. Yeah, Luck
Brink
of the
is
Irish.
amazing. We need to talk more about Brink. Let's get Eric
Yep.
Von Detten in here.
Please.
I mean, I guess we could do that. That'd be fine. So again, our friends who are Wigs members, we will see you over on Patreon. Everybody else, thank you again so much. Really means so much when you guys are with us for Deep in the Plus, and we will see you again next Wednesday night for another Deep in the Plus. Sunday night, join us for Park Center, and also, you know, have a great week. Be safe out there. Take care.